Hi kids, welcome to another video. Today we're going to learn rounding to the nearest 10. So grab your boards and your papers along and let us start learning. Before we start our challenges, let us first understand how to round to the nearest 10. To round to the nearest 10, you need to look at the numbers in the ones place. Now let me show you what number is in the ones place. In a number, we have more than one place, but for this video, we're going to learn two places, the tens and the ones place. Let's say you have the number 15. The number at the end is always the number in the ones place, but the number at the front after the ones place is always the number in the tens place. So if you wanted to round up or down to the nearest 10, you have to look at the number in the ones place. But first, we need to know what numbers we have to look at before we would know if we should round down or we should round up. If you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the ones place, then you round down. But if you see the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, then you round up. Now that we've been able to understand how to round to the nearest 10, let us do some challenges so that we'll be able to understand how it works as we do the challenges. So grab your boards and your papers and let us solve these challenges together. So here we are in challenge 1. I hope you all have grabbed your boards or your papers so that we could learn and study together. Now let us look at these 4 questions. Question 1, question 2, question 3, and question 4. We need to look at the numbers in the boxes below these 2 boxes, and then we have to find out whether we should round up or we should round down. This is where we'll put the numbers that we learned about in the discovery room into practice. Remember, when you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, then you round down. But when you see the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, that is when you round up. So let us look at the number 62. 62 has 2 in its one place. Therefore, we have to round down because when we look at 2, we have to round down. And when we round it down, we round it down to the nearest number, which in this case is 60. The nearest number to 62 is 60 when we round it down, because the number 62 is in the middle of 70 and 60. So it's in the middle. 62 is right in the middle of 60 and 70. So when we round down, the closest number to 62 is 60. Now, let us check question 2. In question 2, we have the number 23. As we have said in the room of discovery, the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 tell you you have to round down, and the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tell you have to round up. When we look at the ones digit, which is 3, we see that we have to round down, because when we see 3, it tells us we have to round down. And to round down, we have to find the nearest number 23 could round down to, and that is 20. Because 23 is in the middle of 30 and 20. As you can see, it's in the middle of 20 and 30. So in order for us to round it down to the nearest number, we have to look at the lowest number closest to 23, which is 20. Next, let's look at question 3, number 48. First, we look at the number in the ones place, which is 8. And from what we see here, 8 is in the group that tells us to round up. So we round it up to the closest highest number, to the nearest highest number, which is 50. 48 is in the middle of 40 and 50. 48 is in the middle of 40 and 50. So the closest number to 48 when you round up is 50. Now 66. That is in our fourth question. 66. We have to check whether we should round it up or round it down. But first we have to look at the ones digit. Every single time you want to round up or down, look at the ones digit if you're rounding to the nearest 10. It depends on how much you're rounding to. If you're rounding to the nearest 100, then you might look at the tens place. If you're rounding to the nearest 1000, then you look at the hundreds place. But that is for the future. In this video, we're rounding to the nearest 10. So we look at the ones place. And in the ones place, we have the number 6. And according to the group, it tells us if we see the number 6, we round up. So we round up to the nearest number, which is 70. Because 66 is in the middle of 60 and 70. And the closest number to 66 when we round up is 70. So that is it for challenge 1. I hope you all have been able to understand a little bit more than what you might have understood in the room of discovery. We'll go to challenge 2 where we'll do a little bit harder challenges so that we could push our limits and fully understand how to round to the nearest 10. So we're in the last and final challenge, challenge 2. Before we start, let me give you all a reminder for the last time that when you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the ones place, you round down. And when you see the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the ones place, you round up. Let's solve these 9 questions, starting with question 1. 44 rounds to dash. This time we didn't get the closest or nearest numbers to each number in each question so that we could use our thinking cap. What number do you think 44 is in the middle of? You are correct. 44 is in the middle of 50 and 40. It's in the middle of 50 and 40. So if we look at the number in the ones place, number 4, it tells us we have to round down. So the nearest number to round down to is 40. So 44 rounds to 40. Now let's go to question 2. 66 rounds to dash. 66 is in the middle of 70 and 60. It's in the middle of 70 and 60. So if we look at the number in the ones place, it is 6. which tells us we have to round up. So the nearest number to round up to is 70. So 66 rounds to 70. Now let's look at question 3. 27 rounds to dash. 27 is in the middle of 30 and 20. I hope you all are following along and you're writing along with me. I want you all to even pause the video before I mention the nearest numbers and try to find out what the nearest numbers are for yourself so that you will be able to easily solve any questions that come to you like this later on. So let's continue. So as I was saying, 27 is in the middle of 30 and 20. And if we look at the number in the ones place, which is 7, it tells us we have to round up. And the nearest number to round up to is 30. So 27 rounds to 30. Now, question 4. 91 rounds to dash. 91 is in the middle of 100 and 90. 190. That's what it's in the middle of. If we look at the number in the ones place, it is the number 1, which is the lowest number we could get that tells us to round down. And the nearest number to round down to is 90. So 91 rounds to 90. Now let's look at question 5. 54 rounds to dash. 54 is in the middle of 60 and 50. So we look at the number in the ones place, which is 4, and it tells us that we need to round down. And the nearest number to round down to is 50. So 54 rounds to 50. Now let's look at question 6. 73 rounds to dash. Now 73 is in the middle of 80 and 70. 80 and 70. So when we look at the number in the ones place, which is 3, it tells us that we have to round down. So the closest number to round down to is 70. We're getting really close to the 9th question. So let's go to question 7. 52 rounds to dash. 52 is in the middle of 60 and 50. It's in the middle of 60 and 50. So we look at the number in the ones place, which is 2, and it tells us that we have to round down. And the nearest number to round down to is 50. So 52 rounds to 50. 8, question 8, which is the second to the last question, tells us that 19 rounds to dash. Now 19 is in the middle of 20 and 10. So if we look at the number in the ones place, it tells us that we have to round up because the number is 9. So the closest number, the nearest number to round up to is 20. So 19 rounds to 20. And the last and final question of this video says 36 rounds to dash. So the number 36 is in the middle of 40 and 30. And when we look at the number in the ones place, which is 6, it tells us that we have to round up. So the closest number to round up to is 40. Therefore, the final answer of our final question is 40. So 36 rounds to 40. We have finally finished our challenges for this video. I hope you all were able to understand and write along with me. I will see you in the next video, and also don't forget to subscribe so that you will be able to follow me as we learn maths very, very easily and in a very fun way. See you in the next video. Bye.